frustrated to figure out why. But it seems like the last thing that I did just fixed it. And it's so... The device for my capture card updated. And when it updated, it reset all the settings and preferences that I had. So just now, I think what was happening is... I was broadcasting the gameplay. I have OBS set to record what I'm broadcasting, and then the capture card was also trying to record what was being displayed on the screen. So it was trying to double record on two different files what I was doing. So that was strangling my computer's ability to stream it. And the thing is, there's no, like... For some reason, the default is whenever that screen is being used for the capture card, it'll automatically start recording as the default setting on there. So, what a mess, but I'm glad I figured that out before I lost my mind. And there we go, I've dropped 35 frames. Now that's normal for the beginning of a stream. Not the 0.0% dropped frames that I was seeing before, which was just a pure lie. Game? Honestly, throw the ball. Come on, game. Game. There we go. Finally. Come on. What do you want from me, game? That went past him? Okay. Everything seems good now. I think you fixed it. Awesome. Yeah. Stupid problem to have, but finally figured it out. Game. There we go. We have, what, 3 more to catch? We got to 40. So now... I heard Charizard. Oh, he's all the way in the corner. Damn. Not a whole lot of Machops. 2 Machop. Onyx Y. It's tiny. Yeah, okay, game. It only takes up the whole damn room. Geodude, please. There's a time for this, and it's not now. I already have too many. Friend bailed? Damn. I'm sorry to hear that, man. Yeah, I guess at least if you're walking around right now, the temperature is probably all right. Just walking around during the day sucked today. You know, it wasn't bad. Today and tomorrow, or yesterday and today were probably the better days to be outside during the day, but at least around by me. It was like 70s and 80s today instead of the 90s where it had been the rest of the week. I hate the heat. See, I don't mind dry heat, but humid heat is terrible. Yeah, Tennessee, you get a similar summer than we do here as far as the humidity goes. It's pretty much from, I'd say, July to, I'd say even earlier, probably like the last week in June through the first week of September. It's just hot and humid. So you're like, I guess you're looking to go to Alaska, just completely eliminate the summer. Or I guess the summer is there is like a month and a half, and I'm sure it's never humid. Unless it's raining. Pacific Northwest to the Northeast, okay. I think Pacific Northwest is cool, but I don't know. I feel like it just for a certain portion of the year it's just dark and rainy for like a whole couple months. And I like the rain, but after like 2 or 3 days of rain in a row, I'm like, okay, there needs to be some sunlight or I'm going to start losing it a little bit. Yeah, I like dark and rainy too, but after a couple days in a row, I'm like, okay, something's got to change here. I can't take this anymore. And I mean, Northeast does that somewhat too, but I think the Pacific Northwest is kind of known for that specifically. Unless you're talking about like New England's kind of that way too. So if you're talking about that far north on the other side, like New Hampshire, Maine, Vermont kind of deal. It's foggy and rainy for a lot of the year there too. Well, 70% of the time you're looking at like tropical rainforest, and there comes that humidity again that you didn't want, so it's not quite tropical rainforest, but approaching that level of rainfall. Or maybe Ireland. Oh yeah, true, you always got you got the Isles up there taking all of the abuse from across the Atlantic. I don't even remember what shiny Machop looks like. So this is going to be a surprise to me when I finally see it. Took my dad to Disney World and it was 95, 98 degrees a day. We literally had to cut our days in half. Just to escape the heat, I guess. Yeah, the last time I went to Disney, I was with... Who was I with? Oh, I was with cousins, and one was like, oh yeah, let's go to the Magic Kingdom or whatever, and we were there for a very short amount of time, but they had passes to get in or whatever, and they're like, okay, let's go to the Magic Kingdom, and it poured rain the entire time, literally the entire time. Before we left, we renamed it the Tragic Kingdom, because literally you couldn't even go from, like, there's a part where there's like streets and street corners and stuff, and you couldn't literally go from one awning to the next without being literally completely soaked with rain. Umbrellas, ponchos, that kind of junk didn't matter. You would still get soaked just from existing that day. It was so bad that there were even like some of the most of the attractions, unless they were literally inside a building, they were just closed because they were like, yeah, the rain is just soaking everything. It's pouring so hard people can't even really see. And then they were like, oh, well, now there's lightning warnings or whatever, so I think being soaked would have been better than what happened to us. What happened to you? Little Pig 99, thank you so much for the follow. I really appreciate it. Welcome to the stream. Been working on Shiny Machop here now for... Honestly, it's hard to tell. Maybe like 45 minutes or so. Just because we were having some stream issues initially when we started, but we have our chain set up and we're just wandering around waiting for something shiny to show up. Thank you for the follow. Welcome to the club. Good to have you aboard. Data 68. It was 95 plus degrees, and you can only last 2 or 3. Yeah, that's it's hard. I mean, 95 plus degrees with just straight on no cloud cover or anything is hard on anybody. But yeah, no, that's understandable. I remember when I went there as a kid, one of those days it was like it got to almost 100, if not 100, and most of the days weren't bad. They were like it would rain here and there, but it wasn't bad as far as temperature. But that one day it was so hot, and that was also the day that we were supposed to go. I want to say we're supposed to go to the Animal Kingdom, so we got to do like all the little inside stuff and some of the attractions that were inside, and then we tried to do like the Tree of Life, and we just basically hung out underneath the Tree of Life for a lot of the middle of the day because it was just so unbearably hot. It was a bad day to have visited the Animal Kingdom, although it was still a good experience. Because I was young and I was able to tolerate everything that was happening because of the order that we happened to do things. We happened to be inside at the worst points of the day and managed to take care of things, but it was horrible as far as the heat. Yeah, I don't understand how people can live in places that are just hot and humid all the time. Couldn't do it myself. I also like having the 4 seasons too much. I wouldn't like it if it was just, you know, summer for most of the year and then like spring/fall where it's 60 degrees, 50 degrees and rainy, and that is their winter. Yeah, nowadays extreme cold is easier to deal with for the most part. Can always put on a jacket, but you can't take off more skin, so... Little Pig, if you're still around, do you shiny hunt? Is there anything that you're looking for at the moment? Onyx, no. Behave. Looking for shiny Dratini. Oof. That is a hard grind. Good luck, my friend. That one's tough. I have a hard enough time getting just the plain old Dratinis to spawn in, let alone a shiny one, so... So I assume you're just chaining them up by the power plant? That... Okay, the way that I phrased that sounds really bad, but I assume you know what I meant. 257 combo. Oh, I've been there, my friend. Not specifically with Dratini, but I remember specifically when I was doing Bellsprout in a run that I could only use shinies. I was chaining for Bellsprout in Viridian Forest, and I got to like 304 or 306, something like that, before it finally showed up. And that's in an area where a ton of them are spawning, not just the one at a time that you likely get with Dratini, so... That must have been a lot of time, man. How much time have you put into that hunt? And is that your first chain, or have you had to break chain? Just be a different color. Yeah, no, I feel your pain. Ugh. Second try. Okay. Okay. This is technically my second attempt at going for Machop. My first one, we had a shiny Geodude pop up eventually, so I just caught it and broke the chain, even though I've already have enough shiny Geodude, Gravel, or Golem. And then honestly I forgot about it, and then we went hunting for Diglett. And I got my shiny Diglett and a shiny Chansey that randomly showed up during that hunt, and now we're back to Machop. Second try over a week, yeah. Yeah, that one's grueling. That's like, it's like going after one of the other spawns that are like Squirtle or Bulbasaur or Charmander, where only one will spawn per area at a time, but I think Dratini's even harder because you've got that little tiny narrow piece of water to work with in that one spot. And I'm assuming you've got max odds as far as having the shiny charm, I mean. Shiny Pikachu and Viridian. Viridian's just a good place to shiny hunt in general, just because of the huge number of spawns that show up there, but I have not hunted for Pikachu in this because the only shiny I ever found in Pokemon Go way back when was a shiny Pikachu, so I just transferred that over and evolved it. And now I'm pretty sure that Raichu is in my Sword and Shield now. And Caterpie was shiny. Yeah, Caterpie, Pidgey, Rattata, are the ones that I found the most random shinies of. For sure. Got way more than I know what to do with as far as shiny Caterpie go. It's just a regular one, but I've got some shinies of Beedrill. Shiny Pidgey, Shiny Pidgey, Shiny Pidgey, Shiny Pidgeotto, Pidgeot. A couple Rattata, Eradicate. My Spearow that I evolved into Fearow. Ekans that evolved to Arbok. Vulpix. Zubat. Venonat. Our Diglett that we caught last time. Just a plain Dugtrio. A regular Machop. Shiny Bellsprout and Victory Bell. We have 3 Tentacool. One of which I'm going to evolve into a Tentacruel. And then, of course, our Ponyta, which was cool. Doduo. Shiny Krabby. Regular Rhydons. So many of them. Shiny Chansey that we got the previous time. Shiny Staryu and Magikarp. And Lapras. And a shiny Eevee. So our hunts have been... That's just a regular Dragonite. I've been pretty lucky recently. But yeah, most of the shinies that I've caught, period, have been out of Viridian Forest, so it's just a great place to hunt for stuff in general. Come on, Rhyhorn. Is that Eevee wearing a Diglett? Oh yeah, I've got, hold on, how do I... I'll just do this. Yeah, there's a Diglett hat that you can get. So I make him wear the Diglett hat. And I also put the green bows on her, too. Because I was like, oh, there's other options here. And all these other options look crappy, so I'll put the bow on. There's also a crown that you can buy. I forget what the prerequisite for being able to buy the crown is, but I never bought it for Eevee just because I thought the Diglett was cool enough. I like Diglett a lot, so all the pure ground types in Gen 1 are cool to me. $1 million. Yeah, I think you're right. I think that's what the crown costs. I would rather spend that money on lures and stuff for catching the shiny hunts than spend it on just the cosmetic crown. I mean, it is a nice looking crown, but the Diglett hat's funnier to me. This game hates me today. Well, I shouldn't say it hates me, because it's really only been getting close to an hour that we've been hunting. Because the first... I don't know, I guess I'd say around an hour. First 15-20 minutes of stream, I was just struggling, trying to get the output to work correctly. Where, oh where? Does it not want to spawn anything in? Hello? Finally, a single Machop. Alrighty then. I like to use this cave in here, or this part of the cave specifically, because you can get everything to spawn in, just run up to the ladder up here, reset everything, and have them come back without having to wait. But there's also another part in the rock tunnel in here that's useful for this strategy. But that's typically where I prefer in general to shiny hunt, is an area where I can get the most spawns in, and then also easily refresh the spawns without having to run around too much and waste a lure or dodge a bunch of things that spawn in. Unfortunately, I guess for your Dratini hunt, it doesn't really save you much more time to go and refresh at the power plant door or something like that. Just waiting on spawn timer refreshes, gotcha. Yeah, it takes a lot of dedication to go after something that spawns just one at a time. And I've done it before with the starters and with the occasional other Pokemon, but It was weird. Why did it do that? What if Wario is just a shiny Mario? I guess that is honestly kind of close to what the color palette swap would be. I don't know if it's exactly right because I don't fully understand the system that they use to create what the shiny colors are going to look like, especially because they flat out make exceptions for a bunch of the Pokemon and just make it whatever color they want. Hey Tigray, what's going on? Wait, Wario isn't a shiny. I could definitely see him being a shiny hunter, considering he likes anything sparkly that people will buy for some reason. Rare spawn. Oh, what was the Kangaskhan that came up? Or if you were talking about Dratini, in which case, yeah. So many lures. So many Machop. So many disappointments. Come on, game. Hello again, Kangaskhan. Would you like to encourage something shiny to pop up? Now would be a good time. Now would be... I mean, any time is a good time for a shiny, but now particularly would just, make it all... okay. Alright, fine. I guess I'm refreshing the ladder. Nothing. Speaking of Wario, I'm excited to start up some of the Mario Party speedrunning things I've been looking into. I've been looking at some of the single board categories. I might start with one of those. Thinking of doing Mario Party 3 at the moment, but I'm also considering doing Mario Party 2. I find Mario Party fun enough that I guess I'd be willing to grind it out as a game. That's one thing for me, is that if I do any speedrunning stuff, I really have to pick the game carefully. Because it's got to be a game that I enjoy playing enough that I can do the same little grindy bits over and over and over again. A. And B, it also has to be a game that I won't grow to dislike from learning to speedrun it, or find that I would no longer have any interest in playing it for casual purposes by speedrunning it. And I think both Mario Party and the Banjo-Kazooie category that I'm trying to learn, both of those so far seem fine for meeting those requirements. I should be on 40. 40 is usually the, hang on, I can check right quick. 40 is usually the point that I get to where I'm like, okay, I feel comfortable enough with this number that I can stop for now. Because I think technically 31 is the number that you reach the maximum increase for that Pokemon to spawn over other Pokemon. But I usually do 40. Sometimes I'll do 50, or I'll just keep catching it if I want to get higher candy returns, or specific candy for that species. Like if I was really interested in maxing out all the stats of the shinies that I was catching, I would be just chaining them, continuing to chain past that point to get the Machop candy, but I don't care about that, honestly. Wow, 2 Kangaskhan in the same room. I don't think I've ever seen that in this cave before. That's kind of nuts. Never seen the game do that before. Golbat, no. Still nothing. Hey King J, how you doing? Good to see you. Hope you're having a pleasant day. We are struggling against the RNG here to spawn in a shiny Machop, but still trying nonetheless. As I was saying earlier, I can't even actually remember what shiny Machop looks like, so it'll be an even more pleasant surprise when it happens. I believe shiny Machamp turns green, but I could be wrong about that. Having a pleasant day. You got a shiny 15 minutes ago. Nice. What did you catch? And was it the one you were aiming for? Everything spawned at once there. Okay. Yeah, everything spawned like at the exact same time, and then there was a stutter before other spawns. Weird. Random shiny Weedle, full odds in Viridian Forest. Nice. Nice. Yeah, we were just talking about Viridian Forest and how good of a place it is for shiny hunting in general. It's all the spawns you get in there. That's awesome. Shiny... can't even talk. Shiny Weedle's cool looking. Shiny Cocoon is cool looking. Shiny Beedrill's cool looking, so... Got a nice catch there. Congratulations, man. There's nothing like getting a random full odds one. The only time that it's bittersweet is when you were chaining for something else and it breaks your chain to have to catch it, but or to ignore it if you're really dedicated to your chain, which I don't typically do. I'm willing to just accept whatever shiny shows up most of the time. Although I've gotten so many Caterpie and Pidgey and Rattata at this point that I might start ignoring them if I see them. I haven't gotten to that point yet, but... Funny thing is, I was about to go shiny hunt Pidgey. Went to chain 1 in Viridian Forest and then go to Route 1. Nice. You didn't even make it that far, huh? You ended up running into the Pidgey right off the bat. That's cool. Or the Weedle, excuse me, right off the bat. I was actually lucky enough the other one of the other streams I've done recently that I went to shiny. Maybe you were there for that hunt. I can't remember. I went to shiny hunt for Krabby, and we got Krabby after chaining about 20 of them or so. And I was like, all right, well, we got that real quick. Let's go somewhere else and look for something else. And I went to start shiny hunting Eevee, and I caught 3 Eevee. And then the 4th one that spawned, or the 5th one that spawned, was a shiny. It was amazing. I've never been like, okay, let's go shiny hunt this and just have it just pop up like that. I've had other shinies show up randomly very early into a hunt before, but never the one that I was aiming for like that so quickly. But I had crazy lucky hunts the last couple streams, so I knew that luck couldn't last forever. This one's already taking longer to have something spawn in, but can't expect a miracle every time. Some of the hunts just take enough time. That's awesome. Yeah. Yeah, it was really cool. That was such a cool stream because we got Shiny Krabby before we could even finish doing the chain for it. Shiny Eevee after just a couple encounters, and then we went here to do to look for Machop for the first time, and a shiny Geodude spawned in, and we caught that instead. So it was quite a day. And then the stream after that, which was it yesterday? Yesterday's stream? I get so lost with what day of the week I did what, but I think it was yesterday. Yesterday's stream we went Diglett hunting, and we found a shiny Chansey randomly that showed up at the beginning. We caught that, and then we powered through, reset our chain, and got the shiny Diglett in the end, which was cool. You might shiny hunt Charmander because Charizard's awesome. Yeah, shiny Charizard is awesome. And I've done that hunt for shiny Charmander before, and it's grueling. It took probably 300 to 400. I probably did a chain of 300 to 400 Charmander before I finally got it to show up. And actually, the first chain that I did for it, I broke because after like 70 or 80 Charmander, a shiny Ekans showed up, so I caught that. And I evolved it into the Arbok that I still have, but it is definitely a cool shiny. And the shiny Charmander I turned into a Charizard and transferred it to Sword and Shield so I could give it the special Gigantamax form. Shiny Gigantamax Charizard looks really cool too. There's like a small army of Machop, and not a single one. I mean, I think in theory you can keep chaining forever, or like to 999 or something. But as far as it actually increasing the odds for it to be shiny, I think technically 31 is the highest. Like, you can keep chaining past that, but once you get to 31, you've reached the maximum threshold of how a chain can affect the shiny odds. I think if you keep chaining past that, it's just going to increase things like experience gain and the number of candies and stuff you receive for continuing to chain, that kind of thing. But your shiny odds, I believe, stop at 31 chained. So right now I have a chain of 40, and I'm not bothering to catch anymore just to save on resources. And now I'm just refreshing lures as I walk around waiting for a Machop to come in that's different. But I believe the chain can go infinitely or to 999, whatever the counter stops counting at. I don't think I've done a chain past the 400s. Just because there was no reason to. I finally got the shiny I was looking for, or the chain broke because I found something else. I also had a chain of like 200 something break on Bulbasaur while I was chaining them in Viridian Forest to get a shiny Bulbasaur. That was disappointing. I thought I had paused the game and I set it down, but I hadn't, and something random walked into me and ran away from the engagement before I could get back. Catching up Chansey and Cerulean, leveling up your Beedrill. Gotcha. Yeah, catching a bunch of Chansey in the row and catching them on the first throw are a very quick way to increase that experience. Yeah, I guess I really don't... When I catch shinies, all I do is catch them. I don't really... I don't typically bother leveling them up or feeding them the candies for the stats or whatever. None of that part really matters to me anymore because I don't do a lot of competitive Pokemon battling the way that I used to. I still have some teams that are semi-competitive in Sword and Shield, but even for those, half the Pokemon on them haven't been EV trained appropriately or have the right natures necessarily. So I will say though about this game is that it's nice that when you chain Pokemon to a certain degree, you get guaranteed good IVs, or at least four of those stats are guaranteed to be good. Zubat, you gotta chill, bud. Nobody asked you to come in here screaming. Not unless you're a shiny green color. Remember I was replaying this game on another account and found a shiny Graveler. Nice. Yeah, you can, you should still be able to transfer that Pokemon over from that account through Pokemon Home if you haven't done that already. That is if you caught it. Or Pokemon Bank, or whatever it's called on the little app on the Switch. I currently have a shiny Graveler, but I encountered, it was on stream too, I encountered one in Cerulean Cave, or I saw it spawn in, and as I'm walking over to spawn it, to the spawn to engage it, I clipped the corner of a ladder, and it made me climb down the ladder, and it despawned the encounter, and I was very sad. That was the same day that I encountered Shiny Chansey for the first time, and it got away from me before I was able to catch it. That was but that was also the same, all in one stream. I had those two things happen to me, but I also encountered 4 other shinies and caught those. That was definitely the most shinies I'd ever encountered in one day. 6 total, and 4 of them being caught. You transferred it to your main account, and a person I trusted helped me trade into evolve it. Nice. Machop does not want to work with me today. At all. Or ever, apparently. Yeah, you're paranoid of ladders. Yeah, they sneak up on you. They're like, hey, you want to go on a trip that you'll regret? Here we go. I guess I'm lucky so far in the sense that nothing has spawned right as I decided to go down a ladder. Shiny-wise. I did have that one instance with the Graveler, but that was, I would say it was like 30% my fault and 70% why would the ladder ever have like reached out and grabbed my foot and made me go down it from that angle. But I'll take a little of the blame, but not that much. Actually, I'd divvy it up even further. I'd say it was 30% my fault, 40% the fact that I have to use a Joy-Con for this game and my Joy-Cons have drift. And then the remainder of the 30% is why would the game allow me to go down the ladder from that angle by barely touching it with the side of my toe as I'm walking past. Yeah, it really does, and that's why I don't know if any of you are familiar with the recent announcement with the that Nintendo is making a new Mario Party game and using the maps and the mini games from the first 3 original Mario Parties. But they specifically said in their advertisement that the game supports all control or supports like the Pro controller types, and it doesn't use any motion controls. It's all button controls. Because Super Mario Party, the recent Mario Party they put out for the Switch, forces you to use a Joy-Con. You can only use a Joy-Con, and it's miserable trying to play Mario Party mini games when your Joy-Con doesn't obey your commands correctly. And also some of the motion control stuff is finicky. I would say that Nintendo's motion controls in general work pretty well, but the Switch itself has problems as far as the Wii. You always had like the sensor bar, so you could put the sensor bar on top of the TV. The sensor bar never moved no matter where the console was, as long as it was close enough that it could connect. But with the Switch, like for example, I got my Switch below my TV. I've got the 2 monitors on my desk. The Switch is below the desk, sitting on like one of the storage parts of the under part of the desk. And sometimes in some games it's not correctly picking up what I'm doing with motion, or at least the correct direction that I should be facing with that motion. And this game is a great example because it forces you again to use Joy-Cons. And when I go to throw the Pokeballs, I would say like 50% of the time? Half the time the ball just goes a completely different direction, even though I do the exact same motion every time to throw. So they need to make Pro Controller compatible with this game. Yeah, they should have done that a long time ago, but I don't even know why they didn't, because you can, with Mario Party, you can't even play, unless you're playing, even if you're playing single player, you can't even play that game in handheld mode, like with both controllers connected to the game, or to the Switch. You literally have to pull the Joy-Cons off of the screen, even if you're playing one player, in order to play it. In this game, you can play in handheld mode with both Joy-Cons connected right to the screen, no problem, and just aim the screen where you want to throw or aim left and right where you want to throw. So there was absolutely no reason they couldn't have just added support for Pro Controllers in this game. Well, I think part of the issue there is they continue to deny that drift is a problem. Like, they still haven't publicly said, like, yeah, our controllers have a drift issue. They're always like, oh no, there's nothing wrong with our controllers, but if there's something wrong with your controller, send it to us and we'll fix it. And then they had I guess there was a couple lawsuits that were thrown against them, and they were like, okay, fine, yeah, if you really think something's wrong with your controller, send it in and we'll fix it. Which, honestly, I didn't do when that first came out, because I had 2 sets of Joy-Cons. One had considerable drift and the other one had light drift, and I was like, well, I'm just gonna hold on to it, because I'm gonna send this out and it's gonna be gone for a couple of months, and they send it back. For the moment, I'd rather just suffer. And then I got a nearly brand new pair of Joy-Cons from somebody else because they were getting rid of them. So then I used those for about a year or like 6 to 12 months, and now they're starting to show similar drift issues. So it's like, it's not even, I'm not even using them roughly. I take pretty good care of everything. It's just they can't withstand certain games. Like, a great example is Smash Brothers. The Joy-Cons cannot withstand the kind of constant inputs that you need to do from Smash Brothers. It doesn't take that beating very well. And using the Switch in handheld mode, I mean, there's nothing to grip on. There's nothing on the screen. There's no like bottom parts to the Joy-Cons to hold on to. So all of that pressure of the weight of the Switch however, whatever way you're angling it or whatever, is all resting on the back parts of the Joy-Cons, which, fine, I guess, but the other 30 to 40% of that weight gets pressed into the sticks when you're holding it, because you're trying to control the sticks with precision and still hold on to the whole console as a whole. And because of that, I feel like that attributes to how quickly the control sticks degrade. I think simply redesigning the back part of the Joy-Con, or having some type of sleeve or chassis that it sits in as a whole, or putting like little grips on the back, would help reduce a lot of the input pressure that people have to apply to the sticks, and then therefore at least lower the rate at which that they degrade and start having drift issues. Hire me, Nintendo. I got all kinds of ideas. Don't listen to the millions of people on the internet who have proof and are having a problem. Yeah, I think the problem lies in the things that I just described, but also they're like in Nintendo's playtesting, they're probably playing it in a very controlled situation where all that wear and tear isn't being applied. They're not playing the game in handheld mode, or if they are, they're playing it, sitting at a desk anyway. So it's the thing is in their lap, and they're not applying, the pressure to it that if you're actually holding it and actually playing certain games where, like this one, for example, where you can play it in handheld mode, you can aim the screen and move the sticks at the same time, and you're trying to get stuff done. And then, like I mentioned, other games like Smash Brothers, where you're constantly applying pressure to the stick in different directions very rapidly, and switching, and doing a bunch of button inputs, and like you get grabbed in Smash Brothers and you start spinning the stick or mashing the button or whatever to get out. The Joy-Cons just can't handle that kind of abuse, especially long term. And I feel like I just checked, but I'm going to check again and see if the lure is active. It's not active. This is why we check. Onyx, that was not an invitation for you to approach me. This game in handheld mode, it's like the Joy-Cons come together to create a nightmare. Yeah, I don't understand. Don't understand. I love Nintendo, but some of their choices, it's like, why take all these steps forward if you're why take a great step forward if you're always going to immediately take 2 steps back after it? We created a brand new controller. It's ahead of the Wiimote and the Wii Motion Plus as far as its ability to, provide motion input. And there's that game on 1-2 Switch where you roll it around and you can feel how many balls are supposed to be hidden inside the box, which is the controller. It's very sensitive. It's very powerful as far as rumble features and being able to feel different based on the way that you're angling it and all that. But then the downside there is the control sticks stop working properly after, what were people saying, like 50 to 60 hours of use is when they were starting to feel drift issues, typically. Yeah, but the control sticks don't work right. Oh, and we'll be able to force you to use them for most games. It's like, come on, I know your Pro controllers have all of that, I know your Pro controllers have all of that motion functionality built into them too, so it's not like that's even an excuse. forgot 1-2 Switch existed. Yeah, it was one of those games that was... So, when you think about when the Wii came out, and they put out Wii Sports and Wii Play, I loved both of those games. Wii Sports was not a huge game, but it showed off all the features that they'd added wonderfully. Still very replayable, and I had a lot of fun playing it. Wii Play, same deal. And of course, Wii Play came with a whole second controller, so why would you not pay, what was it, like 40 or 60 bucks for, 40 or 50 bucks for a literal whole nother controller and a game that comes with it. And then, what was I going to say? Oh, and then the Wii U came out, and they put out Nintendo Land, and Nintendo Land was an awesome game. Absolutely awesome game. Had a lot of content there, and I had a lot of fun playing it. And then, when the Switch came out, 1-2 Switch was like their introductory title to the capabilities of the system and the controllers and whatnot, and I just found 1-2 Switch to be very underwhelming in comparison. And I don't even really know why. Maybe it's just because the minigames were very, very simplistic. Like, to me they seemed extra simplistic as far as concept, and then some of them used a little bit more dynamic, a little bit more involved motions. But that game really felt more like a demo for what the controller was capable of than Wii Play, Wii Sports, and Nintendo Land had felt like before them. So, and here I am just going on a rant about launch titles for the most recent Nintendo consoles, but you skipped 1-2 Switch and went straight to Mario Odyssey. Yeah, you didn't miss too much. I mean, there are a couple interesting minigames in 1-2 Switch, but it's 1-2 Switch is a game that I regret. Can't talk. That I regret buying digitally, because had I not bought it digitally, I definitely would have returned it. And Super Mario Odyssey was fantastic, so... Although I will say, again, the controllers come into play there, because there are certain moves that you do in that game that you can only really do using the Joy-Cons. You can't play it in just standard using a controller, or even with them on the chassis sitting together in that little, like, make a controller thing, because the certain motions that you have to do certain hat throws and stuff don't translate easily on using a Pro controller. That was the only complaint I had about Odyssey and its interface, was that why there are all these buttons on the Pro controller, why can't you just have separate buttons associated to each one of the special throws that you can do of Cappy? Why does it have to be, oh, just push one button and flail the controller in front of your TV and hope that you get the right one? This Machop's really trolling us hard. You don't remember whether or not Skyward Sword is compatible with Pro Controller. Well, based on... So, if it's set up in the same way that the original Skyward Sword is, I don't know how they could possibly have it... I don't know how you could possibly play with a Pro Controller, because there's that whole... In the original one, there's that whole mechanic of you have to swing the sword in the right direction to get through the enemy's defenses and blah blah blah, and there's the stamina thing. So, I don't see how they could, but to be honest, I'm not... Skyward Sword is probably my least favorite Zelda game that I've played, and I don't even know if I'm going to get the new remake of it. They would really have to revamp the game for me to feel like I would enjoy playing through it again. And I'm also aware of the scandal, quote-unquote scandal, that they're selling an amiibo that lets you freely travel between the ground and the sky easily, or something. And that just seems underhanded, if that's true. It's like, oh yeah, here's our game, and by the way, if you want to play the game with any convenience, be sure to spend the extra 12 to 15 bucks for the amiibo, which I'm sure scalpers are going to do their best to get a hold of and gouge all the people that really desperately want to play the game and have that extra layer of convenience. Which is just disappointing. I'm very disappointed with the whole scenario. And again, those are only things that I've heard. So, well, I mean, technically you could always do that in the game, right? You could always travel between the ground and the sky. But supposedly there's an amiibo that's going to make that process easier, or make you able to do it from anywhere, so you don't have to go to a specific location to do it. It's been a long time since I played Skyward Sword, so I kind of forget how that mechanic worked. I know you had to fly on the big bird thing to get around in the sky and then go to the right location and drop down out of the sky, but supposedly, yeah, there's an amiibo that's going to make that whole process way more convenient, but obviously you have to buy the amiibo to be able to do that. And again, I don't know the whole story. These are just things that I've heard. I haven't paid too much attention to the new Skyward Sword stuff because, like I said, probably not going to get it myself. I'll have to see what they've changed and how it looks and stuff when it comes out, but it's definitely not one of those day one purchases for me. I thought coming over to this area in the cave might inspire some odds, but doesn't seem like it's helping. At least not yet. This was the spot that I found the shiny Zubat when we were hunting for that earlier on in the streams. Or earlier on in the month, I guess would be the best way to put it. I wonder if Nintendo is thinking about their prices more. We got WarioWare for 40 and then Miitopia for 40. I mean, I guess because now they no longer have that separate. There are a lot of big changes happening for them over the recent years, because now Nintendo has gone from the hybrid of having a home console and a handheld console to having a console that's kind of both. I think that they're trying to be like, all right, well, let's make games that are really more so designed to be digital only. And I mean, I don't know that Miitopia doesn't have cartridges out there for it, or that WarioWare doesn't have cartridges, but they would seem like games that wouldn't have cartridges. So like, maybe they're like, well, we're gonna be able to offer some of these smaller or more limited titles for a lesser amount than what we used to charge. But and again, that's not saying that Miitopia or the WarioWare game are going to be lesser titles with less content or effort put into them or whatever, but I don't know. I sometimes I think it's better to just not to pretend to try to understand what they're thinking. Could sit here and bat it back and forth all day, but every time they surprise me with a decision that's good or bad, they follow up with one of the opposite, so. I have so few lures left now. Ugh. Where, oh where? I'm randomly catching you. Go. Okay. I'm not randomly catching you. Goodbye. Still only 2 spawns. There we go. Thank you. Alright, I'm going to refresh one more time here. And then we'll go for a walk. I'm going the wrong way, aren't I? Yes, I'm going the wrong way. Rhyhorn, you can leave now. Sometimes when I sit in one spot for too long shiny hunting, it just begins to wear on my mind. Staring at that dark cave room over and over again just gets to be too much, and then I fly around to see if something else doesn't show up for us. You never know where and when the shiny luck will finally smile upon you, so... Nothing exciting there. Sure, let's just waste all of them. Hi, Charizard. What's popping over here? Game, I said, what's poppin'? Something better pop out of this bush. Really nothing? Oh, but there's a shiny not a shiny, but there's a Chansey spawn all the way over here. Come on, game. Be reasonable. Nothing. Alright. Cool. Okay. Yeah, Charizard and Dragonite just are all over the place. Which is an interesting choice to me for them to do in this game, because I feel like they always portrayed Dratini, Dragonair, and Dragonite as very, very elusive Pokemon that were considered so rare that people weren't even sure that they still existed, blah blah blah, and that you really only ever found... like, you could find Dratini and Dragonair and stuff in rivers, but Dragonite really only lived out at the deep sea or whatever. But here they are, millions of Dragonite flying above Kanto. And yet, the only place you can find the Dratini is in that one little river by the power plant. I believe. I think that's the only spot. Yeah, literal dragons above at all times. This patch of grass right here is where I found a lot of shiny encounters. I think I found 5 from this patch, this one right here alone. You need a shiny Psyduck in your life. Yeah, shiny Psyduck is super cool. I've gotten 2 of them in the past, and I always call them Ultra Instinct Psyduck, because they look just like that newer, one of the newer forms Goku gets in Dragon Ball Z. But honestly, they keep making new stuff for Dragon Ball Z, so I say newer form, and it's probably not even that new anymore. And one of those Psyduck, I traded away for some other shiny in Sword and Shield, and the other one I made into a Golduck. And shiny Golduck is cool looking, but shiny Psyduck is definitely the better of the two. We'll only hang out here for another minute or so, and then we'll go somewhere else to see if luck is hiding elsewhere. Oh, look, an Eevee. Running around up there. Okay, nothing here. Worth a try. Hello, Dodrio. It's got anything for me? Lots of Ponyta, but no blue flame ones. And an EV. Alright. Well, it was worth a try. Let's go ahead and fly ourselves. We'll go back to Rock Tunnel, but I have to fly here to get there. Hi, Squirtle. You know, while we're here, let's go ahead and collect the items from here that we can grab. Rhyhorn, you gotta take up the whole walkway, like the entire thing. Lots of things spawning. Golden Raspberry. Ultra Ball. Mostly Ultra Balls today. Helix Fossil, cool. Is that the Snorlax sound that I heard? Alright, he's literally sitting top of something. 10 Ultra Balls, okay. Golden Raspberry. It's over here. Another one. Yeah, this cave's got some good stuff. Lots of good stuff. Alright, let's head back over to Rock Tunnel. Oh, actually, one quick stop at the mart. Get off the Dragonite. There we go. love how this game makes the shinies look. You mean how, like, you can see them in the overworld before you encounter them? Because that is one of the 2 or 3 big reasons why I like shiny hunting in this game is preferred to pretty much any of the other ones. And I don't understand why Sword and Shield didn't continue that trend. If they were going to bother to put overworld sprites, it can't have been that much more work for them to have the shiny coloring show up in the overworld too. I also don't know why in Sword and Shield they were like, oh yeah, we implemented the thing where your Pokemon can walk around with you or behind you in Let's Go Eevee and Pikachu, but we're removing that functionality for Sword and Shield. And then we're going to add it in for the Isle of Armor DLC, and then that's the only other place you can walk around and have your Pokemon, like, behind you / with you. It's like, what was the point of all that? Oh, you mean as far as... Yeah, this game definitely is really vibrant as far as the colors go and bright. So you really can truly see and appreciate the way that the shiny looks. I see what you're saying. Even for the shinies that are, like, I guess less impressive looking, typically, they still do look good in this game. Alright, well I hate running around the power plant, so we didn't see anything there. We're just going to go back to the cave. I always like to double check here in the off chance that a Dratini decides it's going to spawn in, although it's always very unlikely. Okay, nothing interesting there. Spelunking through these caves is taking it out of me. So close to having all these guys at level 100, that way I don't even have to look at the experience screen anymore. I should have left some of the shiny level 100s that I had in this game, just so I wouldn't have to look at experience. But I basically moved all of those into Sword and Shield that I could. And some of the rest are in older games or in Pokemon Box /Bank.